What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? Let's break it up a little bit. How many quarterbacks do you believe have won the Super Bowl and played for Alabama, the Alabama Crimson Tide? Well, guys, I'm going to tell you, and I'm also going to rank the quarterbacks that's played at Alabama, and one of them, has come closest to winning the Super Bowl. Hey, guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Let's talk with Corey. If this is your first time tuning in, hit that subscribe button. But before we get started, wherever you are in the world today, I mean wherever you are in the world today, I really do hope you're having a great day. Guys, my channel, Let's Talk with Corey, is about people, places, and things. And right now, we're talking about, hey, what three quarterbacks won Super Bowls and played for Alabama Crimson Tide? Guys, it is Bart Starr, who won his Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, not once, but twice. Joe Namath to win a Super Bowl with the New York Jets, and then Ken Stabler with the Oakland Raiders. All three of those quarterbacks played for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And you got that from me. Look it up if you don't believe me. But in the Nick Saban era, there's been only one quarterback to come close to winning a Super Bowl. And Alabama has had some really good quarterbacks in the Nick Saban era. And I'm going to tell you right off the top, you know who it is. And it's the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. But let me go to this article from AL.com back in 2023, where the title says, ranking Alabama's starting quarterbacks during the Nick Saban era. So follow along with me. There is as much uncertainty around the quarterback position at Alabama this preseason as there has been in a half a decade or more. Now, whether the Crimson Tide starter this year is Jalen Milroe. Now, this is 2023, guys. We're going into a time capsule. Ty Simpson or Tyler Buckner, who is departed, he will enter the season as a largely unproven commodity. Hasn't always been that way, of course, as the Crimson Tides has had a number of high-profile and star-quality quarterbacks during the Nick Saban's 16 years on the job. Now, guys, again, this is an article from 2023. So who was the best of the bunch, and how do the others stack up? Now, this is the ranking here. Here's a ranking of the 12 men who have started at least one game at quarterback for Alabama during the Saban era. Hit that subscribe button. Number 12 is Cooper Bateman, 2015. A surprise starter for Alabama's Week 3 game versus Ole Miss in 2015. Bateman went 11-14 for 87 yards and an interception before being pulled in favor of you-know-who, Jake Coker, just before halftime. Coker rallied his team but could not overcome the deficit as the Crimson Tide lost 43-37 in its only loss of a national championship season. Coker was reinstalled as a starter the next week and never left the lineup again. Bateman later transferred to his home state, the School of Utah, where he finished his career as a third stringer. Number 11, Blake Barnett, 2016. Not everyone remembers this now, but Barnett actually started in the 2016 season opener against USC. I was at that game. That was at the Cowboy Stadium playing USC. The former five-star recruit from California completed 5 of 6 passes for 100 yards and a touchdown in the Crimson Tide's 52-6 victory, but lost his starting job to Jalen Hurts, seemingly in the middle of the game. What happened was, it seemed like Blake Barnett, we were at that game. I actually got in a debate with Keyshawn Johnson, who was in attendance at that game, and told him, don't worry, we're going to send SC home with a loss. But anyway, he looked extremely nervous in that game. Blake Barnett was the starter, but he was not the starter for long. He just seemed out of sorts. And next thing you know, Nick Saban inserted Jalen Hurts, and he never looked back. Hurts started every other game that season, and Barnett transferred to Arizona State before finishing up in South Florida. Number 10, Jalen Milroe in 2022. Milroe took over for an injured Bryce Young during the second quarter of October 1st victory over Arkansas the previous season. then started the following week versus Texas A&M. The Texas native completed 12 of 19 passes, 119 yards, and 3 touchdowns with an interception versus the Aggies. He also added 81 yards on 17 carries as the Crimson Tide held on for a 24-20 victory. Young returned from his shoulder injury the following week and took every important snap the rest of the way, but left after the season to become the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. And he's referring to Bryce Young. Number 9, John Parker Wilson from 2007 to 2008. Wilson started every game at the quarterback during the 2006 season under Mike Shula, and also was under center for Saban for first 2 seasons with the Crimson Tide. The former Hoover High School star completed 56% of his passes for 5,119 yards, and also rushed for 10 touchdowns during his 2 years under Saban, but had just a 28-20 touchdown to interception ratio. Whoa, that's hard. He was the starting quarterback when Alabama's true turnaround began, Harvard engineering Alabama's SEC West Championship in 2008. Number 8, Red McElroy, 2009 to 2010. After 2 seasons as Wilson's understudy, McElroy took over as the starting quarterback during his redshirt junior year and led the Crimson Tide to the first of their 6 national championships under Saban. The Texas native was an efficient passer, completing 65.8% of his attempts for 5,495 yards and 37 touchdowns with just 9 interceptions in 2 seasons. He offered little in the running game, however, he was the pursuing game manager who generally wouldn't lose games for his team. Since number 7, Jake Coker, 2015. 1 year started after transferring from Florida State and sitting behind Blake Sims for a year. Coker has the distinction of never losing a game as a starter. Crimson Tide won 14-0 with the Mobile native under center. Only when Clayton Williams started, he lost to Ole Miss. The 6'5", strong arm, pocket passer, Coker completed 66.9% of his passes in 2015 for 3,110 yards and 21 touchdowns with 8 interceptions. Most importantly, he led his team to a national championship. That's right, he did. Number 6, Blake Sims, the ultimate quarterback, managed quarterback in 2014. Sims will long be held up as the prime example of the genius of Lane Kiffin, who helped mold a 6-foot-tall former running back into a second-team All-SEC quarterback while Alabama's offensive coordinator in 2014. Sims completed 64.5% of his passes for 3,487 yards and 28 touchdowns with 10 interceptions, leading the Crimson Tide to the SEC berth in his long season as a starter. The Georgia native also added a dimension as a runner, totaling 350 yards and 7 scores. Number 5, Jalen Hurts, 2016-2017. Hurts had his limitations as a passer during his time at Alabama, but still put up big numbers and was SEC Offensive Player of the Year as a true freshman. He completed 61.8% of his passes, 4,861 yards, and 40 touchdowns with 10 interceptions during his 2 seasons as a starter. Also added 1,809 yards and 21 touchdowns rushing. He's remembered nationally for getting benched in favor of Tua Tagovailoa during the 2017 National Championship game and later transferred to Oklahoma, but has a special place in the hearts of Crimson Tide fans for coming off the bench in the place of an injured Tagovailoa to save the 2018 SEC title game. Now an MVP candidate with the NFL's Philadelphia Eagles, Hurts seems to be getting better every year, no doubt. Number 4, A.J. McCarron, 2011 to 2013. This might seem to be too low to a place for a 2-time national champion who very nearly competed for a 3rd, but it speaks to the quality of quarterbacks who have come after McCarron at Alabama. The Mobile native started 3 full seasons under the center for the Crimson Tide, never missing a game and rarely missing a snap. Due to injuries of his passes for 8,630 yards and 74 touchdowns with just 15 interceptions. He won national titles in 2011, back-to-back in 2012, and had the 2013 Alabama team undefeated and ranked number 1 before it was derailed by Auburn and the kick 6 in the Iron Bowl. Number 3, Mac Jones, 2019 to 2020. After starting 4 games down the stretch in 2019 as Tagovailoa was lost for the season due to injury, Jones became a 4-time starter in 2020 and put up one of the greatest quarterback seasons in SEC history. He completed 311 of 402 passes, a phenomenal 77.4% for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns with just 4 interceptions. The Crimson Tide went to be 13-0 and won the national championship, completing what is widely regarded as the best season-long performance by an Alabama team. The Florida native left after that season to become the first-round pick of the New England Patriots of the 2021 NFL Draft. Not bad for someone who was considered a recruiting afterthought when he signed in the same 2000 class as Tagovailoa. Says number 2, Tua Tagovailoa, 2018-2019. In an alternate universe where he stayed healthy his entire career, there's no telling what kind of numbers and championship performances Tagovailoa could have posted. Now, as it was, he was still incredibly good. After coming off the bench to rescue the Crimson Tide in his 26-23 overtime victory over Georgia in the 2017 national championship game, the Hawaiian lefty took over as a starter the following year. He completed 69% of his passes for 3,966 yards and 43 touchdowns with just 6 interceptions, staying largely healthy until suffering a high ankle sprain in the SEC championship game, which might have cost him the Heisman Trophy. Tagovailoa returned the next year to complete 71.4% of his passes for 2,480 yards and 33 touchdowns with 3 interceptions in just 8 games before his season and his Alabama career ended with a broken hip suffered against Mississippi State in early November. He recovered in time to be the number 5 overall pick by the Miami Dolphins in the 2020 NFL Draft. Number 1, Bryce Young, 2021 to 2022. Young sat behind Jones in 2020, but took over as a starter the next year and became Alabama's first Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. California completed 66.9% of his passes for 4,872 yards and 47 touchdowns with 7 interceptions, leading Alabama to the SEC championship game as well as a berth in the national title game. He battled a shoulder injury the following year, but completed 64.5% of his passes for 3,328 yards and 32 touchdowns with 5 interceptions in a year in which he didn't have a line protection or skill position teammates enjoyed by some of his predecessors and often had to carry the offensive load nearly by himself. Young was the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, Crimson Tide, and making him the 3rd straight Alabama starting quarterback to go in the first round. So guys, now here we stand in 2024 with what I would consider one of the most sensational quarterbacks to play at the University of Alabama, Crimson Tide, and that is Jalen Milroe, who is there's going to be some questions coming at the end of this season after we switch from Nick Saban coming into a new season with a new era under Kalen DeBoer and with Jalen Milroe's final season as a Crimson Tide player as he will get ready for the NFL Draft. But who knows where he'll fall. But again, he had to carry Alabama on his shoulders no matter what. He did what he needed to do to put us in the best position to win. But again, this is not a Nick Saban team. So guys, what's your thoughts about the 12 Alabama quarterbacks? And did you know about the 3 quarterbacks in Alabama's history that actually won a Super Bowl? As always, guys, thanks for the pull-up. Hit that subscribe button. And until the next time, let's talk with Corey. Let's talk with Corey out.